whether that's the people building the product or using it. There's a lot of key things that we do need to do to build it into the engineering cycle. And then, of course, there is the product and technology themselves. So in the people side, for example, to address awareness, education, and understanding, we've created 3 guides specifically designed to help people understand what technology exists and how to apply that in a successful way. On the business practices side, the first step is to build accessibility into the product cycle, and I think we've heard mention of that already. Microsoft, we've created an internal standard that helps us understand all of the requirements around the world from different regions, standards, policies, regulation. How do we combine that into one set of clear guidance for an engineer? My team has a set of experts which consult and actually will sit with a team and help them understand how to design a product that is accessible. And then we consider this accessibility as part of trustworthy computing. So just like we build software that respects privacy, is secure, is reliable, we also believe it needs to be accessible. And we actually heard in the video that there's been investments in many of our products. And in fact, the fair outside, you can go and try these. So try some of the accessibility features in Windows. You can try the accessibility checker in Office 2010. And in fact, if you don't know, there's the accessibility checker, there's the Save as Daisy plugin, which we've worked with you on. Thank you very much. And then there's also a captioning tool called Stamp. So you can actually create a video, add captions right inside of PowerPoint. SharePoint allows you to create those websites that are accessible. If you start with the right templates, follow the guidelines, you can have a WCAG AA compliant website. We have a lot of developer technologies, and we have free programs for students, developers, and small businesses that help them get up and running. And what this is all about in the end is building this pyramid of capabilities, which starts with technologies. It includes a lot of partnerships with organizations like the Indian government, and with Techshare, with Barrier. And it actually includes a lot of partnerships with assistive technology vendors as well. But the point here is there are a lot of moving parts, and it's all about creating exchange of information and good customer solutions. So this is something we've been doing for a long time, and that's actually why I wanted to point out today that it's actually a fairly complex problem. That may be obvious to everyone here. It's actually not obvious to everyone around the world because they often think it's one thing. It's the technology, or it's the cost, or it's awareness. So I started off talking about this idea of inclusive innovation. So I want to tell a very quick story. I met a man who was a radio technician in World War II. He was a true techie and an expert. He could build a radio from the components. He knew how they worked extremely well. And when I met with him a few years ago, he explained to me he could not even understand how to use a VCR. And he said, it's not because I didn't try or read the directions, it's because technology has changed so profoundly that even though I was the techie of my day, today I can't use common technology like a VCR. And so his message to me and to all of you is don't assume that because you are technologically savvy today that you'll be able to use the technology of tomorrow. Unless something changes, we all could be left behind by innovation that moves too quickly and that overwhelms us. So I made the joke earlier about too many applications in the App Store. The key point there is that we have to think about how to take technology. Yes, we have to design it in the first place to be accessible. So consider the user and the user needs. But we also have to collaborate around the world with a variety of stakeholders to make sure we're not only building the right solutions, but that we actually deliver them in a way that can be used by people, that the people creating content and websites, for example, actually use the technology that exists. The book publishers actually allow those rights to be released so that a person can listen to the book to be read. So the one other thing that you probably haven't heard about is we are actively engaged in a discussion around whether there should be the creation of an international society of professionals for accessibility. And the reason this is interesting is there are many important and valuable efforts around the world that are happening to bring all this together, but they're not coordinated. So we have many people around the world that don't understand technology, they don't know where to be trained, and they don't know, if they're a business owner, they don't know where to find qualified people to help them create accessible technologies or products or books or media. So this idea of a profession is based in the other examples we have around the world. If you go to build a structure like this, a building, you consult with an architect. The architect does the review and helps you find issues, avoid problems, and design it in the right way in the first place. Today, if you want to build an accessible application, where do you go? How do you know if the person you're meeting with or hiring is qualified to help you do that? You really don't. You have to, unless you know references, if you know the person, there's no easy way for this to scale around the world. So this is one of the biggest issues that we think we can take advantage of, is to bring the whole world together around the idea of a profession. And the last point here is it really is about putting this person back in the center of the equation. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to meeting with all of you later in the day.
Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate your coming to India and all of the support from Microsoft within the accessibility space and building awareness, as well as all of the efforts of your team on the ground. If it had not been for Vijay Kapoor that I had met of Microsoft, and now the entire leadership of Gauri and Alok, it would never have been possible to take this the way that it has.